Back in 2009, Sony released the PlayStation 3 Slim with 160 and 320 gigs capacity. The PS3 Slim has a few upgrades compared to the PS3 Fat. The Slim model is smaller, consumes less energy, it's easy to upgrade the hard disk, and the Slim model has a little bit better cooling system. Now is late 2018, and this game console is almost 10 years old. For a lot of people, this is an old technology, but for me, this is a new challenge. I'm Andrew, and in this video I'm going to show you a few mods, and we're going to see is getting the PS3 Slim still worth. This PS3 Slim, I got it for 70 euros, or that's about $80 on garage sale. With the seller, we deal this price because of few reasons. The first reason, this PS3 is accidentally dropped before, and after that the game console won't start using the power button or gamepad. And the second reason is, this game console was in a pretty bad cosmetic condition. I mean, it was covered with the dust and dirt. But I got this PS3 because other reasons also. The seller with this PS3 offers a few more pretty cool things, and simply I could not resist. Except the PS3, I got one power cable, one HDMI cable, I got 3 DualShock controllers, but only 2 controllers are functional, and I got 4 pretty nice games. The games are Dirt 2, FIFA 2016, Mortal Kombat, and the last game is the GTA 5, but the game is without the package, I mean the plastic cover. When I back home, the first what I do is the basic cleaning. I mean, I clean the dust and dirt from the PlayStation and the other components. Then I connect the power cable and I try to turn it on. Because the power button is not working, I try to turn on the PS3 using the gamepad, but still nothing. However, in this case, I can start this PS3 using the CD. Actually, using CD is an alternative way to start a PS3 or PS4 if the power button is broken. Now, I connect the PS3 to the monitor and I start with basic tests. Actually, I want to be sure it is everything working well. While testing, I noticed that the cooling fan is working at a full speed. The cooling fan actually sounds like jet plane. That means I need to clean the PS3 from the inside and change the thermal grace. Probably you will ask, how can I eject the CD and turn off the PS3 without the power and eject buttons? Actually, that's pretty simple. I can eject the CD using gamepad, but also using gamepad I can turn off the game console. But what if the CD stuck from the inside? That's not complicated also. In this case, at the bottom side there's a mechanical button, which allows to remove the CD manually. Just for this I need to use a screwdriver. However, this is temporary solution. Also, to replace the power button actually is not expensive. On eBay, I found the power button electronics and the flex cable, and the both costs about 10 euros or about $12. After I finish with all tests, it's time to clean the PS3 from the inside and change the thermal grace. Because if I continue to use the PS3 in this condition, there is a risk from overheating. Basically, I have no experience with disassembling and cleaning the PS3 Slim before, but no problem. Previously on YouTube I found a few pretty good guides about cleaning and changing the thermal grace on the PS3 Slim. I watched the guide few times and I was ready to go. Basically it's not complicated, because the PS3 doesn't have a lot of parts. Actually for me it's very similar like disassembling a desktop PC. First, I've started from the bottom side. From the bottom side are the screws which are holding the top case.
Just walk, just walk. Just walk, just walk. Just walk, just walk. Just walk.
After I remove the screws from the bottom side, I turn the PS3 from the other side, and I remove the top plastic case. At this point, on my PC, carefully I follow the disassemble guide, and I've started with removing the other parts.
Just walk. Just walk, just walk. Just walk, just walk. Just walk, just walk. Just walk, just walk. It's now. It's now. It's now. Just walk.
After I remove all parts, I continue with cleaning. The motherboard, the DVD-ROM and the other electronics, I clean it using soft brush. The plastic parts, I mean the bottom and the top case, and the metal cooling part, literally I wash it using soap and water. Basically with this, I made this PS3 Slim to look like in a new condition. After cleaning, it's time to apply the thermal graze. As thermal graze, I used the Arctic Silver 5. This thermal graze has a pretty good quality and belonged to one of the recommended for the PlayStation. After I apply the thermal graze, it's time to assemble the PS3. After I assemble the PS3, I test it again to check it is everything working well. The cooling fan is pretty silent now, the temperatures are good and the PS3 is working pretty well. Because I want to make something different, I've decided to make some modifications. Actually first I think to mod the PS3 case, but because the PS3 case is in a pretty good condition, I've decided to to spray paint the game controllers and make controller stand. First, I've started with disassembling the game controllers. After I remove all parts from the gamepad, it's time for sandpaper. As sandpaper, I used 1000 grit ultra-fine sandpaper. With this sandpaper, I will remove the scratches from the gamepads and the spray paint will be stronger and more quality. One gamepad I painted into a white, and the other I painted into a red. I made this difference because I want to experiment. And one gamepad is going to be like player 1 and the other player 2. After I finish with the spray paint, I clean the other components, I mean the buttons and the gamepad electronics, and then I assemble the gamepads.
Just walk. 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 Just walk.
Now let's take a look at the third gamepad. When I open the third gamepad, which is not working, I saw that the gamepad has a small water damage, and there's some other physical damage. Then, using a 97% alcohol, I cleaned the gamepad logic board. After the gamepad's logic board was dry, I connect battery from other working gamepad, and the gamepad started working. When I checked the battery from the non-working gamepad, I actually saw that the battery was dead. Then I got one idea about the battery, just I wasn't sure it will work or not. This battery from the gamepad is 3.7 volts and 1800 milliamperes. And the battery from my old Samsung phone is 3.7 volts and 3000 milliamperes. Basically, these two batteries are the same, just the phone battery has a larger capacity. The gamepad battery has two cables only, plus and minus. Now, I take out these cables and then I solder the cables on the Samsung battery. And guess what? The gamepad started working with this battery. To test this battery, I connect the gamepad to the charger, and the battery is charging well. Honestly, I didn't believe that this will work, but it's working. After I finished with modding the gamepads, I've decided to make some Gamepad Stand. This Gamepad Stand, I made it from wood. The base part, one holder which makes the stand more stable, one vertical stand, and these parts are the gamepad holders. Actually, this is very simple but nice looking stand. And if you like it, I will place dimensions and the guide in the description below the video.
Just walk. 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 Just walk.
Now, after I stick all parts and after the glue was completely dry, over wood I apply wood stain. And from the bottom side I stick anti-sliding rubbers. And finally, this PS3 Slim got a new fresh look. But there is one more thing what I have to do. One of the games what I got is without a case and I had to make a new case. From a local computer store I buy a plastic DVD case. Then I searched the web and I found some high-resolution case covers for the GTA 5 and I print one. After printing, I cut off the edges and I placed the image cover in the DVD case. Maybe it doesn't look good like the original case, but the CD is protected now. Now let's move on the last thing. Is the PS3 now worth to get it? Well, compared to the other new game consoles, basically you can do a few things only. First, you can't enjoy in a very high resolution gaming or some ultra graphics. And the second, you can play some latest games and you won't have large support. Now let's see what you can do with a PS3. If you get a PS3, you can enjoy in a pretty great graphics but in a 720p resolution. Honestly, I must say that the graphics are much better than I expected. While gaming, you will have a pretty stable frame rate, and you won't feel any lags or some other similar issues. The other great thing on the PS3 are the games. The online game library is large, and you have a lot of great and free games, but also you have some better but cheap games. But also, if you want to buy some games in CD form, then you won't spend a lot of money. Used games in a great condition will cost less than $5, or some better games are about $5 to $10. That means you can enjoy more great games for very cheap. The PS3 is good for other reasons also. First, it's easy and cheaper to maintain, but also using the PS3 you can access to internet. You can use some apps, you can play other CDs, like the music CDs, DVDs, movies, and even Blu-ray discs. Basically this is all about this PS3 Slim. Maybe it's a little bit old game console, but it's still pretty great game console. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you have some questions, feel free to post a comment. Thanks for watching guys, and see you in the next one.